of the word confession. What does it mean? When do you do it? To who do you do it? Confession is a broad topic and can actually be confusing. However, when we see it through the eyes of God, it becomes one simple step in our walk with Christ. Nevertheless, our minds are so corrupt that we still see it complicated. Some of us think we have to have a grievous sin or we have to win the mercy of God. But we already have the mercy of God. For crying out loud, He sent His Son to die for us. All we need to do is ask. We don't need to go through works or long journeys to have the privilege to say what we've done. However, sometimes confession isn't really meant, and people just do it so their conscience can get off their back, or they do it for self-justification, like Adam and Eve did in Genesis 3:12 and 13. They were playing the blame game. Adam was blaming Eve and God. Eve was blaming the serpent and God. All they were doing is saving self, and it wasn't really influenced by a divine spirit. The thing is, if we follow what Adam and Eve did, our confession won't be accepted, for we are not acknowledging our guilt to God. All we're doing is playing with His feelings. So what we should do is confess and acknowledge our guilt to God. That's what confession means. And then it brings up the question, to who do we confess? We obviously have to confess to God, for He's the only one who can forgive us of our sins. But if you wronged your brother, your sister, your neighbor, or anyone, you should confess to them too. For it says in James 5:16, "Therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other, so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." So if you've wronged anyone, go confess to them. Show them the character of Christ. He forgave people too. And also remember that whoever you're offending is the property of God. And if you sin against them, you're sinning against the Creator. Also, if you think confession is too easy or maybe too difficult, you can also look up to someone named Paul, who used to be Saul. But he confessed out of humility and he was genuine. So if you ever need to look in the Bible for his confession, you can go to Acts 26:10 and 11. There you can find out how to confess, or an example at least. So before I leave, I would like to give you a challenge. Be an open book with God. Show Him the things that you want to tell Him, your confession. Show Him everything, for He's the one person you can trust. And it doesn't matter what it is, God just wants to hear from you.